Chase, your background is looking very nice tonight. Thank you for adding a little bit more light to that beautiful face of yours. Happy Monday and no video game. Casual Mondays is dead. Long live the Casual Hour Live.
Jesus.
No, I'm kidding. There is some stuff we got going on this week. So we are going to be doing our podcast on a Monday night, which might be weird for all of you who watch us live. But if you listen to us, nothing's changed for you. And thanks for listening. We got a lot of fun stuff to get into tonight. Well, we've got some fun stuff to get into tonight. We've got some
less fun stuff.
Some unfortunately less fun things to get into tonight. I mean, it is a video game podcast. Why wouldn't we have something bad to talk about involving video games?
But we also have some fun stuff to talk about. You know what? In fact, I would like to bring back, maybe for one night only, but I want to bring back a fun thing that we used to do. Which is talk about food opinions.
Yeah.
Let's go back to ostensibly being a video game podcast, but mostly
food.
Being about.
What if we just did a deep dive on food?
Oh, dude, it's every night. I do a deep dive on food every single night.
I think we should. I think that we should just say fuck it for one of our deep dives and turn it into just a full-on Glizzy Goblin podcast where we talk about food.
I could get down for that.
All right. So your task is to decide what we do with food. Are we doing a tier list of foods? Are we doing best road trip? I mean, what is it? Like, you tell me what we're going to do about food and we're going to do it.
We should take a road trip
and just document it
and eat food and just
podcasters in cars eating snacks.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I bet we could record a halfway decent podcast in the car as we drive.
It might be a chance for me to finally have you drive me in your car as well.
Yeah, that'd be great.
You know, like two birds, one scone.
That's the name of the podcast.
Yeah, let's feed two birds podcast with one scone. Oh my god,
I like it. I want to hear about chips, Bobby. What kind of chips does the Peas household
like right now, or when we do a deep dive on our chip game?
I want to know right now. Yeah. Well, we can figure out more later. But
chips.
I want to get some food opinions. What kind of chips?
So I don't know. These aren't chips, but I think that they are something that you would.
I asked the one thing about chips, and you're like, well, they're not chips.
No, I would say we always have more popcorn than chips in this house. At any given moment, we'll have more popcorn than chips. Having said that,
do you have a specialty kind of popcorn you do, or are you?
Sarah always loves to get like a white cheddar. There is
she has good taste.
She does have good taste. I love this place, and I do not mean for this to sound bad when I say it, but we have a knockoff Buc-ee's called Wally's by our house.
I don't know what Buc-ee's is.
You don't know what Buc-ee's is?
I don't know what corn sweat is, and I don't know what Buc-ee's is.
I don't even know
why.
Am I
just a bad Midwesterner? What's going on?
No, I think that we should change this to be like a single Midwesterner and a Northerner get together and make a video game podcast.
Whoa, let's not put words that we get back.
I do not have the time tonight to tell you about what Buc-ee's is.
Should I just Google this?
It's incredible, Chase. And Wally's is very good as well. But what I will tell you is this. Wally's has in-store made popcorn, and so we'll get a lot of that. Back to the original question, though. Chips that you can always find at my house. There's always going to be a lightly salted cantina-style tortilla chip in our pantry. Always, always, always. And I would say another staple that we always have, but I will be more specific with this, is Sarah likes a sour cream and onion. If she's feeling fancy, a sour cream and cheddar chip.
Yeah, sure.
But we will always have like sour cream Pringles is typically what we will have there. And then
okay. Well, hang on. Sorry, we interrupt this chip talk for some Buc-ee's discussion. Buc-ee's is a Texas-based gas station. That's South, bitch.
No. It's expanding, and you are a Northerner, and you would not know what Southern things are. So my statement still.
You're not south of me,
motherfucker. I grew up in Southern Illinois.
Yeah, Southern Illinois is
and I'm
equal
technically
to Middle Missouri.
No, it's not.
From.
You're north.
Yes, it is.
Well, if you don't know what corn sweat is and you don't know what Buc-ee's are, I'm revoking that card from you.
Oh my god.
And then again, we'll always have Cool Ranch Doritos, and then if we're feeling fancy, we'll have Chex Mix. And then the other thing that's not it's not a chip, but we always have, no question about it, Dots Pretzels. So popcorn and Dots Pretzels are always on the shelf. And then we have those chips.
Guy. I've tried.
Oh, dude, pretzels are great.
I could do like a chocolate covered pretzel, but I learned long ago I'm not like
even a soft pretzel.
Sure, I could do a soft pretzel, but if I'm going to a place that has a soft pretzel, there's other stuff I'd want before that.
What about a pretzel dog?
At that point. No.
God. Cowardice.
You could just get
what about a pig in a blanket?
I like a pig in a blanket, but there's no pretzel in there. the blanket's like croissant-y. Like that's what I'm going for.
I know what your favorite chip is. My question is it always in your house?
Do you know what my favorite chip is?
I absolutely know what it is.
I
don't.
think you do.
Your favorite potato chip, and I've also had you've also driven me in your car. Your favorite potato chip is a Zapp's Voodoo chip.
God damn, you're right. Okay, you kind of nailed me on that one. I thought
I fucking nailed you.
I thought I was going to get you on that one. No, yeah, it's absolutely the Zapp's Voodoo.
So I don't know if it's always in your house though, because
it's not, because they don't make bags big enough.
That's what I was hoping for.
That's what I was hoping for. There is a bag currently in the house, so I've got that.
I like a small bag of chips though. It makes me feel very big.
Yeah, I do like the Voodoo chips. There's not a whole lot of opportunities to get them. They're not everywhere. So when you find them, you're like, okay, I gotta.
Is that something you always, if it's on the menu, it's next to your cold cut?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
If they have them, I'm getting them.
Yeah.
But I grew up as a Cheetos kid.
Soft or crunchy?
Cheetos stuff. Both. Like I'll do any of them.
But you only get one forever. You only get one forever.
They had Paws when I was a kid.
Yeah, I remember those.
I really liked Paws. Yeah, they came in the green bag. They don't make those anymore. But those were like somewhere in between.
Oh man, there it is. That's the deep dive. Yeah. Best 90s to early 2000s snacks.
Fuck yeah, man.
That's it.
My Cheetos Paws and my Dr. Pepper Red Fusions. Like that's me.
And if we really want to go deep, we can say that are no longer available.
Yeah, absolutely. Both of the things I said.
And then you have to say one that you bring back. That's how you get to it. You can do it. We'll do a top 10, and you have to bring one back.
As long as nobody brings back Pepsi Blue, I think we're okay.
No, Pepsi Clear, but that was mid-90s, not late 90s.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So yeah, I like Cheetos. I think I've gotten into the Flaming Hot Cheetos. If I'm gonna go Cheetos these days, I'll just grab a Flaming Hot. And then also in the spicy chip category, I just took a chance at one point. It's like everybody's talking about these fucking Takis. Like, are Takis good? And then I had a bag and it's like, Takis are pretty good.
They're just there's like a spicy rolled up Dorito, right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Not to be reductive, but okay.
So I'm a fan of all those. Tortilla chip wise though, if I'm getting something that I need to dip into salsa, the Tostitos hint of lime chips are where it's at. Yeah, just that seasoning, which I'm sure is just 1,000% sodium.
RFK Jr. hates it. He's trying to ban it right now.
I'm sure.
Don't eat the chip. It's a ball. That's a really bad
lime. That almost sounds healthy. You can't.
I refuse. I could not do this podcast justice on how bad that man sounds. He's gargling marbles at this point.
It's an incredible thing. Obviously, a medical condition, and you don't want to make fun of it, but also that guy fucking sucks.
When you look like chewed up leather, I mean, anyway. Come on. All right. We just workshopped a lot and gave you a taste of what's to come for the August deep dive.
I like that. Good.
But yeah, we are serious about food, less so about video games, more so about video game shenanigans. And there's been some bullshit happening in video games again. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about the processing plague happening in some of these digital storefronts we frequent. But we do have some games to check in on. We got some new games to talk about this week and a dive into what Chasey K Plays is playing. But to do this the best way, we're going to go talk about Donkey Kong Bonanza really quick. And just one thing I didn't get to tell you about last week. I don't have a whole lot more to tell you besides I still think that game is fantastic and I'm having a great time with it. I played two things unique to the Switch 2 and Donkey Kong Bonanza with my nephew. I did their co-op mode. It is the most unhinged, out of control, fucking bonkers experience. Like, I don't know who at Nintendo was just like, yeah, let's give that power to young kids, because they just take over Pauline on your shoulder and it's her shouting. The words that she says, though, become huge on the screen and just completely decimate anything in front of them, both land and enemies. Yeah. And when my nephew, who does not understand power, saw this, I literally was like, I don't get too agitated by like overwhelmed sensory things, but it was so loud and so visual, and that he was just cackling. Like, I was just like, what the fuck? Like I had like, okay, you know what? You play as Donkey Kong. He's way more fun. I'm playing as Pauline, and that worked out well. The other thing we did, we tried it to set up with that share play where he has a Nintendo Switch launch, like not even the OLED. Yeah. And he could play the game from my Switch too. So he has it on the screen. Everything was fine on my end, but boy howdy, that Switch was chugging. Like it was, he could not even play it. But we tried both of those. Both of those experiences, your mileage will vary, but Donkey Kong itself still very cool.
Yeah, I heard Patrick Klepek. I think he did a post for his crossplay parents thing where he was talking about that same co-op feature, where I guess like his kids were just destroying the ground underneath him all the time.
Insane.
It's just like, well, we can't really get anything done, but they're having a good time, so I guess it works out.
Yeah, absolutely. But I got 2 new games to talk about tonight. I'm going to kick it off with Monument Valley 3. I haven't put a ton of time into it, but enough to be able to talk.
New video game. That's an old video game.
New to me, damn it. It's still new to me.
New to everybody because nobody played it when it was blocked in Netflix or whatever.
No, absolutely not. But Monument Valley 2, Chase did call it out here. This is from Us 2 Games. It just hit everything else. Sorry, Monument Valley 3. Us 2 is the developer. It's also, at the time of this recording, how much is it? It is $15. But again, if you do subscribe to Netflix, I don't know if it's off of there. I heard that it was like falling off of their like paywall, and I don't know if that means it's going to be hitting the App Store independently where you can just buy it on your phone. But this is on everything. And a few years ago, they ported Monument Valley 1 and 2 to Steam. You can buy the bundle and have all 3 if you haven't done that yet, which you should because those first 2 games are great. Okay, not all of that stuff's out of the way. To your point, it was very much out and paywalled, and I tried to play it on my iPad as a Netflix subscriber, and it only was available in the vertical phone orientation. So they did not have any sort of tablet version of it. So I've been wanting to play this a lot because I love Monument Valley 1 and 2. And I'll tell you right now, like everything so far that I've played, which I think I'm on chapter 3, is pretty special. It's vibrant. It's exactly what you would want one of these games to be. Very minimal input. It is a new character that you're playing as. Her name is Nora, I believe. Let me double check my note here. Noor, like door. So Noor. And you are a young lighthouse attendant learning about this lighthouse, which its light has dimmed and you need to restore light to it. And so you're working through these levels and you're getting energy that you can bring back to the lighthouse at the end and restore its power. I will say the game right now will probably feel relatively short, and I think you could burn through it very quick as it's only 10 worlds to go through. So I've tried to intentionally slow my pacing with it and take it in a bit more because the one complaint I do have, and not that these games are overly difficult, this feels very simple comparatively to the other 2. And I think it's much, much more approachable. And I don't know if that was just like directionally from Netflix focusing more casually.
I bet that's just a directive of knowing their audience, that the first game broke out of like a critical mass into more of a mainstream culture. And so I think they've taken that to heart of, we're going to have big audiences for these games and we need to make sure they're playable by everybody.
The other thing about it is they do introduce a new mechanic, and each chapter there is kind of a core mechanic change that you're going to use to navigate through the world. But do you remember, and I hate that I can't call its name out, but the totem, maybe it was just totem in the game, the yellow. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the yellow totem returns, but becomes a boat. And here's where it gets interesting.
The King of Red Lions.
It's kind of, but the sail is its eye, which is nice because they do some really cool expressive things where you dock. There's always going to be like this 3-tile docking icon that can get moved around. And if you move that from the boat, it kind of freaks out. But you remember that game? You've only played these on an iPad, correct, Chase? The first 2? Yes. Okay. Mm-hmm. That was you tap where you want your character Ira to walk to. Okay. Mm-hmm. Same thing here on the computer. You click and you go. But the boat is completely free movement, which feels weird because like it's always so structured, like tap and go. You're holding down on the screen or holding down with your mouse or a joystick, and you're moving directionally where the boat goes. I don't think it feels the best, but it's kind of to get you to point A to point B as a boat would.
How often are you boating, or really is it really only? I mean, you're not doing mechanical stuff when you're on the boat, right? You're just kind of moving from place to place.
There was a bunch of like lily pads when you first get it, and you would see one that had like a closed lily on the pad, but when your boat got near it, it opened. And I was like, oh, okay, that was fun. But then I saw that they were kind of placed. I'm like, I wonder if this is going to be like a secret thing if I open all the lilies. And it was an achievement. So it's not required, but it did get you an achievement to do that. So that required a little precision because you're going around things in there. But it does create some very cool things about like water levels kind of unveiling more of the world. And I love Monument Valley games. We've talked about this. They're some of the best modern puzzle games. I feel they just look so good. The soundtrack on this one's great. I think if you have an opportunity to play it on your Switch, which is probably a good spot to do that. It won't have the touch controls there, but these games in a 16:9 are pretty breathtaking. And I mean, I would even say like play it on Steam if you want.
I mean, I like playing these games on iPad because I take a lot of screenshots that then become lock screen wallpapers and things like that. So that's probably where I'd actually end up playing this. But I certainly, for other people, I imagine these are fantastic games anywhere you can play them.
Yeah. So I absolutely think you should check it out. The reception of it seems pretty positive across the board from other people taking a look at it. It is more Monument Valley 3, and I say that in a good way. Maybe a little bit simpler and more approachable, but cool that you can not be in Netflix jail anymore to play it.
It's true.
But the game that came out that I'm very excited to talk to you about tonight, Chase, is Wheel World. We've talked about this on a preview. I've talked about this on the show. I think we even talked about you checking this out somewhere there. This is made by Messhoff, and it's put out by Annapurna. It is currently going to set you back $20. If you buy it on Steam, though, you can get it for $17.99 currently. This is a really cool game for a lot of reasons, but I have been thinking about like, why do I like this compared to other racing games that maybe have more racing features to them? This is a very casual game, and I don't mean in the sense of like mobile game casual. Like it's very arcade adjacent. It's not quite an arcade game. It's not quite a sim. It's somewhere where you are making some silly upgrades at times to your bike. Like you could put a horse saddle on your bike, but other times you're getting very like thoughtful spots and you're looking at upgrading things like grip, aerodynamics, and power. All of the bike upgrades look really slick. It reminds me so much tonally in Ali Ali World on how it approaches like just the overall look of your character, the world you're in, because you're going up against like these very silly biker gangs. And so it's like these biker gangs, you have to go and you have to get rep. That's the currency of the game, is to earn rep. Every race gives you a chance to get, I believe 4 or 5 rep, maybe, that I'm thinking about it, but it's kind of the same criteria. Finish in the top 3, win the race, beat some random person's record time. And then your name in the game is Kat, K-A-T. And in every race, there are the letters K, A, and T that you have to hit with your bike. And so if you get all those, you get a ton of rep. Rep allows you to go into, there's like 4 quadrants where there's different gangs in. And the whole thing you're doing here is the spirit that is with this bike has been stripped of its legendary parts. It doesn't have a rider. You discover it. You become the rider, Cat. And then you will find 4 bosses that will give you all of the legendary components that will allow you to go back into the sewers where the bike belongs. So that's the story in it. And in between that, you are finding very weird and silly gangs to do medium, hard, and easy difficult races that sometimes are just more track driven, where you're going loop to loop to loop. Other times it's more point A to point B kind of destination races.
Mm-hmm.
But then you just find the bike style that you're looking for on like how you want it to feel, maybe the terrain you're going to be against. There are random parts hidden throughout the world that you'll find via these big yellow boxes. There's certain NPCs that if you find them, they'll mark a part on your map. You also get parts for winning these races. And then the other thing is just like roaming around and like having such a chill fucking soundtrack. Like the soundtrack is really the star of this game in a lot of ways.
Even I don't know if the song is actually in the game. I imagine it is, but there was I remember when we talked about the monthly preview for this, I mentioned how good the song is.
Oh,
I still have that song in my head. Like I was whistling that song earlier today. I don't even own the game. I haven't played the game. All I've done is watch that trailer a couple times a while ago and then downloaded that song.
It's
that song is great. I even forgot who did it, but
they do a lot of the soundtrack.
Okay.
There's parts of this that also remind me of Sayonara Wild Hearts. Like just in like the silliness that it approached between like the heartbreak and certainly the music. Well, I think wasn't that like Churches that did a lot of that music in that, or I can't remember who did that.
Yeah, I
can't. It was a popular band that did that. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. June is the band for this one, JOON, and yeah, they have a song called "I Want It All" that's part of the soundtrack, and it's awesome.
So good. Yeah. Dude, I think that's what I love about this. And like, that's why I've been pondering, like, why do I like this game so much? Because racing games are cool, but they don't always hit. Ollie Ollie World's a really good example. I don't love skate games so much, but Ollie Ollie World really did. And it's more like for stuff like this, and I know this is an overused word, it's a vibes thing for me. And I felt the same way about, not just because it's artistically the same, but like a game like Roller Dome. I really wouldn't want like timed challenges where you're having to pull off tricks and do stuff. But they presented it in such a package with like the music, the tone, the silliness of what you were doing. This is the same thing. It's like Ollie Ollie World, this. And I think maybe and Sable leaned a little into the weirdness and some of the people you would talk to, but it also had an epicness to it. And I loved that part of it, but I thought the gameplay wasn't there. This here and those other games I've previously mentioned combine some cool mechanics on top of some really whimsical or just very like, I don't know what this style is. It's a very flat style, cell shaded look. Like this game is pure style. Like we talk about best style a lot at end of the year. And I think just the earworming that this soundtrack has done on itself is like high on that list of style. But this all comes together in such a really cool way. I think it's pretty millennial coded. And that's also another thing that's probably pulling on my heartstring pretty hard right now.
I mean, millennials are pretty bicycle focused, or at least a portion of us are.
Yeah. And I think just the art that it's going for, the style of it, of course, feels like things that I've personally been very influenced on in this space. But they've done a hell of a job. I don't know what else they've put out. Oh, I forgot. Nidhogg. Duh. We talked about this.
Right.
This is the team that did Nidhogg and Nidhogg 2. This is very, very different from those. But I think it's on most platforms. I don't know if it's on the Switch. I certainly know it's on Xbox.
I don't remember. I'll take a look at it real quick.
And I there is the continued boycott happening against Microsoft. So there are other places to play it besides there, but it is available on their Game Pass service also if you are still using that. And playing it on, I played it 2 places on the PC, both on my tower and on my ROG Ally X, and it's been great in both locations. It runs really well, looks really good. It's definitely
not on Switch, PS5, Xbox, and PC, both through Steam or the Epic Game Store. So
I would not be surprised at all if there was eventually like a Nintendo indie showcase for the Switch too. I kind of feel like that's coming, and this would be a perfect addition there. But
yeah, they do their indie world, and this seems like a game that if they can get it running on the Switch too, and I bet they could, then that's probably something that comes over. When you're talking about this, you mentioned a few games that it's like in like an Ollie Ollie World and Roller Drome and things like that. But I'm also just hearing from the things that you're mentioning when you're talking about getting the cat letters. It sounds a little bit like collecting the Kong letters, but also it sounds probably more like Tony Hawk, where here's a handful of challenges that we want you to complete, And, yes, you have a goal that you're doing of going and doing the race, but also we're going to throw some extra, fun bullshit at you of go collect these letters that might be off your racing line or might
And they
force you
always
into
are
doing something slightly different.
they're like either through a shortcut or a ramp. And I don't want to downplay like comparing it to these other games that are like mechanically nothing like it, but from a racer standpoint, it's very cool. The brake, it's like basically brake and go, like you're steering, and that depends on the shit you have equipped with it. There is you have a power up bar that you get by like near misses, not drifting, but drafting on other folks. And when you engage, you have a boost. So you can kind of time it out to where like you start to draft and you build that boost up really quick. You hit it, get to the next person, and you can chain that together. The racing feels really good. You can find shortcuts, not to the degree of like a Mario Kart, but close enough. And the other thing I like a lot is if you're just out free roaming and you want a little sauce on the side, you'll see lone wolves that'll have green bell notes around them. And you just get near them and press up on the D-pad, and you immediately go into a short race with them.
I mean, so even those things that you mentioned are definitely giving ideas of things like Forza Horizon.
Yeah, at big time.
Where you can just challenge random people or the kind of kudos stuff that's in there. Or even like back when you talked about people mark parts on your map that you can go do. That's a lot like the secret garages and things like that. But also like a Burnout Paradise when you're talking about chaining boost. That's exactly what you do with Burnout is, doing close calls, driving on the wrong side, doing little things to get a bunch of boosts, and then using those boosts to chain into drafting and things like that. So it seems like they've just been really smart about pulling from a lot of successful game ideas and mechanics and bringing them together in a way that is that's in a one very nice looking package, but also a really nicely playing package. And it turns out when you're a good developer and you steal the right stuff and you do it in the right way, you make a good video game. Crazy, man. I know.
It's a novel concept. I've told you offline and online again. I know it would not be a casual hour if I didn't tell you to buy a new game, but this is one you should play.
You've told me to buy. Well, okay, you've only told me to buy 2 new video games in the last 2 weeks or so, but you haven't told me to buy Monument Valley 3, but like I know it's implied that you're telling me to buy Monument.
Yeah, I mean, like I kind of feel that once you've played the other 2, like why wouldn't you play the third one now that you can? You
didn't feel like you needed to tell me to play Monument.
It was implied. It was understood. You didn't. I didn't. Why waste words on an hour-long podcast? So, but Wheel World, 100% should be on your radar. Very cool, very surprising game. Like, I don't think I would have thought about like a spirit-ridden bicycle racing game as something I would have been jazzed about, but here we are talking about it.
Yeah. The bicycle part's interesting to me, especially if it is just kind of break and go controls. I feel like if I'm on a like a pedal powered bicycle, I want something to be a little more mechanically involved. That's maybe less casual than what this game wants to be.
But you can get off the bike too.
Point, okay. Well, but at that point, still, I'd want. Like, why wouldn't they just be motorcycles or something like that? Because I'm thinking if I'm pedaling, I want to, stay in some. I want like some kind of bar that is going up and down that I need to make sure I'm pumping my pedals.
Kind of like managing the carrots on Epona type shit.
Sure, yeah, something like that. That's kind of what when you're going for something that's supposed to feel more analog in that way. I kind of want that to come out of the controls as well.
I get that.
But hey, a good game's a good game. So I'm
absolutely. So yeah, that's Monument Valley 3. I mentioned Donkey Kong, Bonanza, checking out Wheel World. I got a couple other new games we'll talk about next week. Still, the thing that's probably most of my time is Death Stranding 2, and I've talked a lot about that. So continue to love that game.
Yeah, I'm also enjoying it. I'm further now. I got to some. We traded stories earlier about where we were in that, and Bobby's still ahead of me at this point. But I think I'm starting to catch up.
Maybe. I just got another member of the Magellan. So
okay, it helps that Bobby has gotten entranced by all the crafting and automation shit that's available in that game.
Yes.
And I'm doing some of that, but I'm also, playing the video game. So I might catch up to Bobby here at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. I think hour count, I have you beat quite a bit, but I don't think progression wise you are slowing that part down as much as I have on just like min-maxing relationships there. And,
Yeah, I'm definitely not 5-star ranking every place that's out there. I'm doing some stuff like I'm catching every animal I see and taking it back to the animal shelter. But
he did say that's the number one thing people. I don't know if you saw Kojima put out stats 1 month after release.
Yeah.
Then the thing that most people are doing specifically is kangaroos, but other animals, and then
Sure.
the truck has been the most popular vehicle. The assault rifle or machine, assault rifle is the most popular weapon. And what was the other stat he gave out? I can't remember the last one, but he gave some fun progress updates on how people are playing that. Oh, zip lines. People love zip lines.
Yeah. I just started to unlock the ability to do zip lines, and it seems cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that continues to be an interesting game. I'm having a good time with it. I feel like the story is starting to pick up a little bit more where I'm at right now, which is the start of chapter 6. Chapter 5 is a very short chapter that gives you a lot of story stuff, and introduces a lot of new things, and that helps. So hopefully that will continue as I continue to play it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to talk about not a new game, in fact, a relatively old game at this point, but new to our discussion on the Casual Hour. I don't even know how much I've talked about this on the Casual Hour outside of our top Xbox 360 game.
I think only potentially as we were wrapping things up.
Yeah, it's been a while. So on Chasing K Plays now, I decided once Bobby and I finished Strangers in Split Fiction, I needed a new game to play. I was between a couple of them and decided to go with Iron Brigade, which is a Double Fine game. So again, you got to talk. Double Fine's owned by Microsoft with the BDS stuff. I'm not telling you to go out there and buy Iron Brigade right now, but also it's a relatively old game that you probably got from a Humble Bundle a long time ago, so you probably already own a Steam copy of this. Just putting that out there. Anyway, Iron Brigade is a game from
$15.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap.
August 13th, 2012.
2012, yeah, 2012 video game from Double Fine, and Double Fine is actually going through their 25th anniversary right now, so they're doing a lot of retrospective stuff on a bunch of different games that they've done.
We're all old.
Yeah, we're definitely old. And I wanted to go back and play through Iron Brigade because it's a game I only played through once back when it originally came out, and it was one of my favorite experiences, and I've talked it up a lot, and I've built it up in my mind a lot, and I thought, okay, I want to see if this thing's as good as I remember it being, and if so, I want to deliver that to an audience and let other people see how cool this game is. And I'm happy to report, game's still pretty fucking good.
That's awesome.
So to back up a little bit, Iron Brigade is a tower defense game, but you are
3D?
also it's 3D, and you control a unit that's in a mobile trench, which is it's got like a World War I vibe to it, so that's where the trenches come from. But also the trenches are mechs, so it's very silly. I like it. It's got a pulp comic book kind of style to it that also helps the tone.
I need to look this one up again.
Really
Let me
silly.
do that.
But the idea here is that you will put down gun emplacements and then also use your mobile trench to kind of go back and forth on the levels and help things out when things go bad. So your place, okay, you have a number of emplacements. You have different chassis for your trench, and the different chassis types can have different amounts of weapons on them and different kinds of emplacements that they can put out. So you can put out a shotgun turret. So this turret will just be there, works like a shotgun. Something comes into its range, it hits it. You can put up a flak turret, which is only going to hit aerial enemies, but it's also one of the only things that hits aerial enemies. So you kind of want
these are not on your character. These are just like out.
Correct. Those are the turrets you can place. Now you can also get shotguns or machine guns or flak machine guns that can go on your trench, so you can kind of facilitate or level out the playing field and make up for your shortcomings by picking a kind of trench that has a lot of weapons of one type, or that can put on a lot of weapons of one type to, okay, I don't have any, I purposely didn't get the flak turrets, but now I've
Yeah.
got a bunch of flak machine guns on my own trench, so now I can make up for that by taking out all the flyers myself and letting the emplacements that I do have take out the other types of things that come around.
I have a
And I think
question.
yeah, go for it.
Is Kunitsigama just Iron Brigade?
In some ways, yeah. Kunitsugama is more about you going from a place to
But
another
you're putting
place.
like units in those spots, like either heavy or this person might
You
slow
are.
them down, right? Like
Yeah, I
that's
would
where I'm
say
hearing that.
Kunitsugama is almost like a reverse tower defense game where you are trying
Yes. It's a very
to
good
go
game
to the
too.
other place. And that it is a cool game. This is much more traditional tower defense. You
Okay.
have a place to protect. You have waves of enemies coming in. They're coming down different lanes, and you have to put down emplacements and go take care of things to stop them from destroying a base.
Got it.
And sometimes those missions can evolve to, okay, you protected the base, and now here's a new thing that shows up on the map, and now you have to deal with that. There's also some boss battles that you can go through that change the way you play the game a little bit, change the playing field out.
Th-
Um,
There's an image
what
I'm looking at on Steam. I can't tell what this is. Do you get kind of like drop pods of gear that you can grab while you're out there?
Sometimes, yeah. So enemies will drop loot boxes that you
Okay.
can pick up, and at the end of the mission, you will get new gear in a similar way that you did for like a SteamWorld heist. But then also sometimes they will just throw down the materials that you need to build emplacements, which is called scrap. The enemies that you're fighting are the tubes, which are all television style, radio
Yeah.
broadcasty kind of things. So you have a lot of electronics that are kind of attacking you, and the scrap that they drop are all like old display monitor things that you're just grabbing into your trench, and then you can recycle that into gun emplacements. It's got a real fun look and tone to it. I really enjoy that part. But the actual playing of the game, I think there's some pretty good strategy that goes into picking which emplacements you're using on any one map, picking which kind of trench you want. Sometimes there's really small trenches that have a lot of emplacements, so you can have a lot of different kinds, but you only get two weapons or something. So
Mm.
you're really limited on the things that you bring in there. And then other times, here's like a trench that has three different weapon slots on each side, so you can bring up to six giant weapons with you. And sometimes weapons will take up multiple slots, so you'll need, okay, I need three on one side so I can use this giant fucking sniper rifle on this one side, and that takes up all three slots. And then I can have three machine guns on the other side, so I can constantly be doing damage, but also having
What are you playing this
the
on?
ability. I'm playing this on Steam.
Okay.
I'm playing this on my PC. Originally, I played it on the Xbox 360 and had a really good time. But for the purposes of recording this, it's a lot easier just to put it on Steam.
And I mean, if somebody were to come and hang out with you one time and they happen to have it,
if they happen to have it, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. This game has online multiplayer that you can still join up with people and play it co-op like that. I think it's a really good time when you can do that. I got to play. I think I played a little. I can't remember if it actually had matchmaking or not. I think it does. I think I played some matchmaking back in the day on the 360 and had a good time with it. But
Cool.
it's just a cool game, man.
Yeah.
I really like a lot of the stuff they put in there, the little touches. One of the best parts is that you can customize your Marine as well.
Love
And
that.
you can buy different hats. And when you put on the different hats, yes, they gives you a nice look and whatever. But also, if you're playing with the controller, I don't know what the keyboard controls for this would be. But if you do the right and left trigger when you're just on the hub, the aircraft carrier that you're on between missions, your right trigger will do some kind of emote, and your left trigger will do a different kind of emote, and those will change based on the hat that you're wearing. So
Huh.
the first, like the generic hat that you have like salute. So you can salute with the right hand, and you can put a thumbs up with the left hand. But then you put on I think the one I put on just before the last stream or the last recording that's going out this Wednesday is the pilot's helmet. So you just have a pilot looking helmet on, but he does finger guns on both. So you can, and it's all pressure sensitive for the triggers. So you can have them kind of half finger guns come out, and you're just you can have so much fun with it. It's so good. It's so good.
That's awesome.
I love this game. I've loved this game for a long time, and it's really nice to go back to it and be having just as much fun as I was before. And if you want to watch somebody have fun playing an old video game, then you can go to Chasey Gay Plays and watch me play it. The series is called Retrenched. It's got some really great thumbnail art from some guy I know,
some idiot.
But it's been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to playing more of that game. It's also a nice game for a recording thing where you can play a couple of missions in an hour and have a good time and call it done. So
that's great, man.
People should go back and play it if they can, if you already own it. And if you don't already own it, maybe just watch me play it instead.
$15 on Steam, or they've got the entire Double Fine catalog discounted by 23% right now, so you can get everything that they made for $244.
Yeah, again with the BDS stuff, it's tough for me to recommend you go buy these games. But again, if you have them, I think these are fantastic games and certainly one worth trying.
It might be harder to buy stuff before too long anyway. So,
well, there's nothing objectionable that I can think of in this game, but certainly that is becoming a growing concern.
Yeah, Chase, you said that you wanted to bring it up tonight, and I really want to talk about it too. There's been some stuff happening in the video games industry, specifically so far on itch.io and Steam. Payment processors such as Visa and MasterCard are more or less implying what can or can't happen if there's certain games with certain content that don't meet their criteria. It does put the entire storefront at risk due to their processors backing away. So much so that Steam has introduced a new Rule 15, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But games have been removed. That is not to bury the lead here. Video games are not available to buy.
Delisted, and in many cases removed entirely from these storefronts. And to back things up a little bit, it's not so much that Visa and MasterCard and PayPal and Stripe and all these places just decided out of the blue, oh yeah, we want to take that shit down. There are these kind of right-wing extremist lobbying groups, Collective Shout being one of the biggest ones, or not really big, one of the loudest ones, and that's the important part. And they will put pressure on these companies. They've tried putting pressure on companies directly, like Steam and Valve and those things, to try to get them to change their policies. And when Steam did not bow to their whims, they went to payment processors to voice concerns. And they made enough of a fuss that these payment processors said, okay, yep, we're gonna change these rules and enforce them more harshly for lots of different places, video games being their latest target. And now we are kind of we're facing this backlash. The gamers are coming together, but not in the bad way, maybe still kind of in the bad way, but also maybe for good, to try to voice some opinions that we shouldn't be censoring art like this.
I got a quick little timeline for you here. So July 14th, this is all 2025, but July 14th, the Australian anti-pornography group Collective Shout that Chase mentioned sends an open letter to Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, and Stripe, urging them to cut service to Steam and Itch for hosting games with rape or incest themes. Also, trigger warnings, I suppose, probably there will be covering sensitive topics that are difficult for folks to get through.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be talking about specific games or any of the specific content, but sure, yes, we are talking about games
with
blanket
those things,
style with these kinds of things in them.
So 2 days after that, Steam's policy change is implemented. Valve updates its Steamworks guidelines to forbid content that may violate the rules and standards of its payment processors. This is from gamingonlinux.com. Let's see here. May violate the rules and standards of its payment processors, leading to hundreds of delistings, mostly incest-themed games. Go forward a little bit. You got Itch doing the same thing on July 24th. itch.io de-indexes all adult not safe for work games from its search pages after receiving scrutiny from its payment processors. A full audit and new compliance measures are announced. July 28th, clarifications and fallout from this are the horror game Mouthwashing vanishes from itch.io's search results, prompting accusations of overreach. But itch.io later clarifies that the game was de-indexed in October of 2024 for unrelated reasons. So that's kind of where things are at.
So for Mouthwashing specifically, they put out a statement that it's because they had a download button that specifically just took you to the Steam store for that game. It wasn't a game that was on Itch anymore. So in that one in particular, maybe a different case is going on. But yes, I think what Itch was trying to do was to be compliant. They delisted all of these not safe for work games as they tried to figure out, okay, let's not get ourselves in trouble while this is happening, but let's figure out what we can and can't list and then put those things back up when we can. It's led to a lot of backlash from people who are attacking Itch, which I can understand. The game's on Itch and then it was off Itch. You want to yell at Itch because that was technically their decision. But again, they are being pressured. They have a gun to their head by these payment processors. And, you know, if you can't use Visa or MasterCard or PayPal on Itch, then Itch doesn't live as a service anymore. Like it just dies.
100%.
You don't have any of these games.
And that's what Valve admitted.
Right. Totally. Like they all of these, my thinking, which I feel like I'm pretty correct on, is that these storefronts already have moderation tools, and background things, and certainly moderation in the digital age, in the modern digital age, is not the best and continues to be a struggle as more and more content requires moderation. Moderators get burnt out for sure because they have to see a lot of objectionable content to do their moderating, and you have people trying to sneak AI bullshit in there and everything to try to be a stopgap measure, and that's also inaccurate and bad. The thing though is that these companies have ways of moderating their content. They have communities that have understood these rules for a while and have followed them, and they have ways of blocking this content off for the people who are looking for it, and then having ways of protecting the people who are not looking for it, or who don't want to see it. Well, and for payment processors, or for the right-wing groups to be able to pressure payment processors into being the arbiters of what you or I get to purchase and get to enjoy from a game or anything standpoint, feels wrong. Like why should Visa be able to tell me what I can and can't do with my money, right?
Well, I don't disagree, but I think it's also the whole platform for oh my god, the bullshit agency that's doing this, the Collective Shout, is that they're essentially saying that there is a social responsibility. That's a very key word they're using here in all this. Corporate social responsibility to what is allowed on those platforms. And the thing that's really scary about this overreach, because it is one of those, is what this group is designating as a problem. And
yes, that's kind of the critical issue, is that it's hard to argue. I'm not over here saying incest is good. We should have more incest games. I'm not saying that, but there are a lot of things that would not qualify that qualify as that are still kind of being put into these boxes because they are mature stories, and many of these mature stories are written and created by queer creators, people of the LGBT community, people who have gone through trauma and are working through that trauma by making a game about it, by sharing their experiences with other people, or somebody who just wants to tell a more adult, mature story. And those things are artistic in that way and should not be censored, or at least should have the ability to be out there and to live out there. And it does ring a little hollow when a payment processor can make these blanket statements that that places like Steam and Itch have to follow when they're not really familiar with the things that are going on.
It's so much worse than that, though. I mean, that's really bad, but the thing that gets even harder, though, is the vagueness that entities like Valve are using right now. Because Rule 15 in itself is not clear whatsoever, and it uses language like this may do this. Well, what the problem becomes is like, we'll use something like Itch, and this is also implying to a lot on Steam, but Itch is notorious for a very like indie friendly platform where a lot of individual developers are going, or smaller groups are going on there. They don't have the buying power for lobbyists or going to fight things that like AAA studios might be to say, define this through legality on what will get us across the finish line. And if it's a game about queer representation, that you don't have the means to go and say like, why are you lumping this in with this? Your studio no longer can really defend its vision itself and others. So it becomes also not only these underrepresented and marginalized communities at risk, it's also now becoming more economically classist, where it's saying that like, hey, unless you can lobby and do these things or go to entities that can, it becomes so much even more frustrating because you're taking away things. There's other sloppiness here where withholding of funds from releases are on the table now due to delisting. And who even knows, like we heard about this with Crafton and the bullshit going on with Subnautica 2, there was probably games that were on track to meet specific figures that would result in the funding of their next game. And if a processor comes in and something is delisted, that's lost time. That's lost bonuses. That's more layoffs. All this shit has downstream implications. That's fucking crazy. And who should decide? Like, who is going to moderate this? Like, yes, of course, you should not have rape simulators. And I think some of those things on Steam from a not safe for work perspective are harmless. Like, I don't play those games. They're all over like the top rated games right now. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing illegal, and it's anti-free speech if you try to go in and say that you can't have your vision here. And I don't know what developers can realistically comply with the ever shifting and shrinking goalposts that this implements through bullshit rules that do not help and support the people that make their platform successful. And Valve did a terrible job here.
Totally. I mean, groups like Collective Shout, they say that they are against rape and incest, and they start out with those things because they seem like really easy targets to go, oh yeah, obviously I agree. Like, we shouldn't have rape in video games. That'd be silly. And it sounds reasonable when they start it that way, but then, like you said, it's very pernicious in the way that it can spread and the way that they can classify things that it's kind of like when you have the like you have this like omnibus bill and people just like sneak shit into it.
Totally, dude.
And that's kind of what they're doing of, okay, hey, we have like this really, headline statement that we can all get behind, right? And then we're going to like sneak in plus LGBT stuff, plus all this other stuff.
Absolutely.
Like
absolutely.
Any sort of sex that now has to go away. Any sort of maturity now has to go away. And that's kind of slippery slope that is really bad for everyone, and just it just sucks. Like,
it sucks.
We saw groups like this long before the video game stuff. We saw them attack sites like OnlyFans,
and
which,
Pornhub was like 2020.
Totally, like, and that seems like an even easier target, right? That's pornography. We should,
and a very loaded and very lucrative group that can defend themselves.
But pornography equals bad, right? It's it's easy to label that stuff as impure and not worthy of support by payment processors. Not understanding, or actually probably fully understanding, the people that they're hurting by doing that. That you have, like said, there's a lot of money going through OnlyFans. There are a lot of women who, you can argue good or bad that they're using their bodies this way to make a living, but they are able to make a living. They're
It's
able
their
to put
choice.
themselves through college or something. It's a free speech choice of something they get to do with their own body. And in a lot of ways, this is a safer form of sex work in that you are streaming it online and you're not actually having to take the risk of going out and doing prostitution or some other type of business in that way. But that is to say how this stuff has evolved, where we start with something that's really easy to label, like pornography, as bad, and now we can go and say, okay, well, if pornography is bad, now we can move the goalposts a little bit more and go, well, pornography in games is bad. Okay, well, now if pornography in games is bad, then what are we classifying as pornography, right? Is rape pornographic in some instances? And it can be, for sure. But also, you mentioned rape simulators on Steam and things like that. Those on their face seem really bad, and I'm sure a lot of them are bad. But can you think about movies that use rape in a way to further a story,
Totally.
in a way that is telling somebody's experience? That if you just how sometimes they'll put a movie on TV and they'll cut out some parts and just censor it because you're not going to show that on TV. But those movies don't make sense anymore, or like you don't understand the character's motivation because they missed a very critical scene, and it had a tit in it. So, oh no, but now you've lost all context for this movie.
Yep.
There are video games out there that do this too. And if we're going to treat video games like an art form, and I think we've had the discussion and the debate a long time ago about video games as art, if we're going to decide that video games are an artistic form of expression, we have to carve out places where they can tell mature artistic stories as well. And this is shrinking our ability to tell stories. It's shrinking our ability to play games that might be meaningful to people. And it's shrinking this kind of free speech and this our ability to learn and grow in this space. And I think that really sucks, because it's just going to keep getting worse and keep getting keep expanding out more and more until we can't play any fucking video games at all.
And I'll mind you again. I'll mind again, like this is a very personal stance on this, but you still can buy assault rifles and all this other shit through these payment processors, which have factually done far more damage and death and destruction than anything else in one of these games. And they have gone after video games for violence in the past. They talk about it starts at home, and they move the goalpost to fit their narrative, and they shift blame when it's convenient, and they deflect blame all the fucking time. So here's what you can do, because you probably feel very frustrated. You probably feel it in our voice when we talk about this. There's a few things happening right now that you should be aware of. There are civil liberty groups like the ACLU, as well as the EFF, that are taking a very hard stance on warning what this overreach will look like. So much so that the ACLU is collecting a petition. Last I checked, it was like hugely populated so far. So it's gaining the attention and the traction you want. Other things that you can do, and again, we're not professionals, but these are just things that have worked for other similar things in the past. You want to continue to support any sort of public pressure on these entities for bad visibility. So continue to do those things. Look at things like the ACLU and their signature petition that's going on. Also, you can reach out to any of your local legislation and say like, hey, I'm against this type of thing. Make it known, put it out there, be on record for raising these things. And then you can also go and look for other opportunities. Some people might be boycotting certain platforms right now. I haven't really seen any of those campaigns taking flight, but it is certainly scary to see this stuff happen. And to echo everything Chase said, it is super shitty and gross and an overreach, and something that we are very against here at the show. So those are some of the things that we know have worked in the past. These are some things that are currently happening. There's a lot of information out there. We live in a very fast moving, news cycle where 24-hour news is even old. So just like stay on top of it, look for updates, continually seek out things like this new Rule 15 over on Steam, and then keep an eye out for what Itch is doing right now, because it sounds like they're really burying some games that people need to find there. So that's a lot. Sure.
It is, but it's important stuff. Thanks for saying that. I know that some people put together like a splash page, landing page that has a bunch of phone numbers for Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, those kinds of things. Has some prompts for you if you wanted to call these places, and has general script outlines to help you build that conversation.
Yep.
So I'll try to find those links, and maybe Bobby can share that when we share
that'd
the
be great.
podcast out on,
that'd be great.
On Blue Sky. I will say one of the things I've read and heard people talk about is how it's so much less that you're talking about the people that are getting hurt. That is important for the end users and the developers for sure. But when it comes to trying to get the payment processors to reverse their position, it's more about making it bad business for them.
Yeah.
And so tying up their phone lines with calls, requiring their workforce to take calls on this, their customer service to spend time on this outside of the duties that they would like to be doing. That's the kind of stuff that gets these payment processors to go, okay, this is not worth the effort for us to continue with this, and we'll change course. So those are things that you can do. Again, sign petitions. I've definitely signed the ACLU one. Those are important as well, but it sounds like these phone calls are really the best way of getting some real traction. The other thing I heard is Collective Shout bragged about getting, hey, we had 1,000 people, which might have been some bots. See, your dogs are mad about it too.
They're so mad about this.
But Collective Shout bragged that they had 1,000 people, many of which I'm sure are bots, that complained to these payment processors, and that's what helped them
Cowards.
Over the edge. So the idea is that there should be a lot more than 1,000 of us who are pissed about this, and if we can put that collective pressure back onto the payment processors, then hopefully we can get them to reverse that decision and make a more equitable space for all of us.
100%.
So, like we said, we'll try to put out some of those resources for people when we put up the show on Blue Sky. So definitely go check that out. But this is important stuff. I know, sometimes there are people out there that are like, I don't want any sex in my games. I don't want to play sexy video games, and I understand that. It's totally understandable. You have the things that you want to play, the things that you don't want to play. But this is a case where, those are just these games are just the first step. We're gonna turn into a game that you care about at some point. Who knows? Maybe they'll find something objectionable in Death Stranding 2, and then you can't play that anymore. They'll find something objectionable in whatever game you like, and they'll find ways of stopping that as well. So I think it's really important to nip this in the bud early. And one of the ways that you can do that is by putting pressure back on these payment processors to stop them in the tracks. So
big time.
Important stuff,
but not nearly as important as our schedule this week, which is very short. We have just tonight, as we called out at the top of the episode. So
we're done. The week is done.
The week is done. The work is done. If you're listening to
get
this,
my work done get all my work done on Monday. Fantastic.
We'll be back next week. I don't know if we'll hop right back into Yes, Your Grace. I think we will. I told Chase there's some really cool indie games that come out that have come out that might be worth doing kind of a little spread or a focus there to talk about some of those, so Chase can dip a toe. But we'll let you know for sure. Right now, we're planning on coming back next Monday with Yes, Your Grace. And also, we'll have a little bit of a delay to our August preview episode, which will be recording on the 6th next week. So we'll just be a few days into the month, but you'll get your game soon enough. But if you need something in the meantime, Chase did mention a Chase K Play segment with Iron Brigade. Chase, what else you got going on?
Yeah, like I said, retrenched on Chase K Plays. Go check that out now. I think this is episode 3 that's going up this week, so cool stuff there. And then I've got another podcast I do with good friend of the show, Pure Score Shane. It's called Pilot Program, where we watch the first episodes of every television show ever made. Our newest episode is going to be on HBO's The Gilded Age. I think we're going to record that maybe in the next 2-3 weeks. So a little ways for that, but you can go and listen to our latest episode, which was on MTV Cribs, which was a really
cool.
fun episode to do. And I think we got something really good out of it. And also, we did that recording. Ozzy Osbourne's house was it was in that debut episode. And the day after we posted the show, Ozzy.
You
died,
killed Ozzy Osbourne. Way to go!
Yeah, I did an Ozzy impression during the podcast.
That's what he's done.
It feels a little weird now. I also did a Sharon Osbourne impression that I think was actually really good. Amy Poehler would be proud of my Sharon Osbourne impression. But yeah. Anyway, that's a good episode. Go check that out and look forward to Gilded Age coming out soon.
Very cool. Well, we'll be back next week with more Casual Hour shenanigans.